Hi guys, welcome back to another Star Wars Mandalorian video. I hope you're all having a very good day today. Today's video is my thoughts on Chapter 5, The Gunslinger. I loved a lot of this episode, but I wasn't blown away by it, to be honest with you. I thought Episode 1, or Chapter 1, Chapter 2, and Chapter 4 are possibly my favourite episodes. I thought they were more epic, more adventurous than possibly Chapter 3 and this chapter as well, Chapter 5. But there was a lot of Easter eggs in this episode, or sort of fan service, as it were, and I thought the episode was good. I wouldn't go as far as to say, like I have in my previous videos, this was another amazing episode. I just thought it was okay, to be honest with you. So I just want to go through the episode, or the chapter. It's going to be spoilers, so if no one's seen Chapter 5 as yet, I'm just going to go through a lot of spoilerific points throughout. So starting off, we have a space battle, and I did really enjoy it where at the very beginning of these videos, you basically see Lucasfilm, and then at this point it went black, and then all you could hear is just the sounds of the ships and the lasers. So it kind of reminded me of the beginning of Revenge of the Sith, where you basically just hear the sounds and then you go onto this massive space battle. So it kind of, that had a lot of Revenge of the Sith feels to it. And throughout this whole chapter is pretty much sort of prequel and original trilogy sort of vibes going out throughout. I did like the villain in the other ship. I liked his helmet. It kind of reminded me of someone from maybe The Resistance, the new animated series, which unfortunately is coming to an end very soon. I was totally in awe of it. It didn't last very long, unfortunately. It only lasted maybe a minute, maybe 2 minutes, but I really liked that because I thought that is what's kind of lacking throughout the chapters so far up until now. A good space battle, or this is the first time we see another ship flying, which is also very cool. Now, after this battle had happened and the Razor Crest had been damaged and is basically floating through space, he goes onto the comms, and through the communicator you had a voice, and the voice said that they were going towards Mos Eisley Tower, and I jumped out my seat and I could not believe it. We're finally going to get Tatooine. I didn't think it was going to happen, so that is something I did not know about, and I was so happy about it. I literally jumped out my chair and said, oh my god, I do not believe this. So basically, as the Razor Crest is actually coming through to Tatooine, just about to land, we get a landscape view of Mos Eisley. Now, it looked pretty much identical from A New Hope, so I'm assuming they might have possibly taken literally that scene, brushed it up a bit, made it look brand new, and put it into this Mandalorian episode, which kind of makes a lot of sense. So I think they did an absolutely brilliant job. So when it landed down into one of the docking bays, again, I got this huge nostalgic feel, and I thought, my god, this episode is going to be absolutely brilliant. As soon as the Razor Crest lands down and the Mandalorian comes off, he's greeted by 3 pit droids, and again I thought, oh my god, this is absolutely so cool. At that point I thought this episode could not get any better. And then we came across one of the ladies that worked there, who's one of maybe in sort of people that fix ships, etc., at the docking bays. Her name was Pelimoto, was her character's name, and I really liked her look. It kind of reminded me of Ripley from the first Alien movie. I'm not too sure if that was maybe possibly a homage to that, but I actually thought she was really, really good, and I actually hope she turns up in another episode if he goes back to Tatooine, that possibly can have maybe a longer relationship with her again. The next part was the cantina part. So the Mandalorian is walking through Mos Eisley. I thought that it could have done with possibly more extras and kind of filled out the street a little bit more, and maybe saw a few more buildings, but who knows what happened after the Empire? Maybe most of these planets are scared and maybe scarce, and maybe they've evacuated the planet possibly because of the Empire, but and haven't come back since. I'm only assuming that might be what they were going for. So as soon as the Mandalorian, he walks past these spikes with the stormtrooper helmets on, and then he walks straight to the cantina, which is straight out of A New Hope. Again, it feels like they've lifted the scene from A New Hope and put it into the Mandalorian on blue screen possibly, and have the Mandalorian walk in. Then he walks inside the cantina, and again, I'm sort of going back to not many people were there. It's very vast. There was possibly only about 10 aliens in there. I did think it was very cool that they had a droid behind the bar, considering a very famous line from A New Hope was, "We don't serve their kind here," meaning C-3PO back in A New Hope. So they've kind of turned it around, that they're kind of, the droids have kind of taken over, and now they're running the place, which I thought was absolutely brilliant. And then we come across a new character called Toro, who's a brand new bounty hunter, and he basically overhears the Mandalorian speaking to the droid behind the bar that he needs if there's any work going. And Toro overhears this and comes over to the Mandalorian and says, "I have a job. Can you help me? I will pay you to help me with this job, and you can keep the rewards. I need it to get into the Bounty Hunters Guild." And basically it was to go after a notorious assassin, or bounty hunter as you will, which was Fennec Shan. Now, they put down the hologram, and she's a well-known notorious bounty hunter, and advises Toro that if he goes after her, he will be killed. So he needs Mandalorian more than ever at this point. So basically the Mandalorian needs money, he needs his ship repaired, so he's willing to take this job. So Toro goes out and he goes and finds 2 speeders for the Mandalorian and himself, for him to go out and look for this notorious bounty hunter. Now, the feels that I got as soon as they got onto the speeders and zoomed off really felt like Attack of the Clones, when Anakin got into the speeder to look for his mother. And it could have been taken out of that and maybe edited highly, I'm not too sure, but it really did feel like that. It's the first thing that popped into my mind. I loved it also that he got stopped by the Sand people, and you can see the Banthas, etc. I don't think that the Sand people would have let them go like that, personally. I mean, going by A New Hope and Attack of the Clones, they would have attacked them. So I thought they got kind of let off a bit easy there, and just was given some binoculars. And I thought the sign language thing was a bit cheesy. I didn't really like it that much, if I'm honest. And the way that they just got let go, and it was like, yeah, go, I'll take the binoculars, yeah, you can go. Unless I don't know the Sand people character that well, but I'm only going from A New Hope, when they just physically attacked Luke for no particular reason, and then tried to steal his speeder, but it was his land speeder. So basically they go off, so they get let go by the Sand people, and they come up and see a dewback with possibly another bounty hunter attached to that, which I'm assuming they're all going to try and hunt for Fennec Shan, perhaps. I don't think that was really explained, possibly, whether that was the case. And then Fennec Shan attacks Toro and the Mandalorian. This bit I did like, when they actually tried to get to Fennec Shan, and then they basically use this bright light to basically stop her from looking through the eyesight on a sniper rifle. And then they take her out, and then before they take her out, Fennec Shan basically kicks all hell out at Toro. It does this really, really cool martial arts, which seems to be a new thing with Star Wars now. I mean, we had it in Rogue One, and then we've got it now here, that they're using martial arts for it. Unless you can call Darth Maul's fighting kind of martial arts. I suppose you could in a particular way. So they take her, and they need an extra ride because the other speeder has been blown up, so they need to go back, and Mando says he was going to go back and get that dewback and then bring it back, so they can basically take Fennec Shan and Toro, and they can all go back and collect the bounty. Now, while Mando is taken the Jew, is going to look for the Jew back, I really thought that Toro, when he was speaking to Fennec Shand, and Fennec Shand basically said, don't bother going for me, you can go straight for the Mandalorian because, you know, they all want him. I felt like he turned really quickly. There wasn't really that much convincing him, to be honest with you. He was so hellfire on actually getting her. I kind of believed her. I suppose he did see Baby Yoda, and that kind of gave up a little bit of, but I just thought it was sort of so quick. I mean, it was like, yeah, right then, you know, took her out, and then went straight after the Mandalorian and after Baby Yoda, etc. And I was a bit disappointed with that, because I have read a lot of reviews and they said Toro's kind of like the guy that's playing really bad acting and wasn't convincing at all. I quite liked him, actually. I thought he was kind of like a young Han Solo type of thing, and I actually thought he was okay. I was kind of hoping he would stick around, but that seems to be like the theme in the last 4 chapters, that he kills off these characters that could well possibly be great team or part of his squad or a team or something like that, but they seem to be getting taken out on every episode. The only one that we haven't lost so far is Cara Dune, but we do know that she's returning for episode 7 and 8, and also in season 2 as well. So once the Mandalorian's taken him out, which was again very quickly, but I guess they've got to rush the storyline as much as possible within the 40 minutes, he gets back on the ship, and the lady that's fixing the ship says, you know, kind of like, you know, sort of nods to him, good luck, and then the Razor Crest kind of goes up very slowly, lifts off into space. I really liked that. It kind of gave me quite an emotional feel to it. It kind of felt like, yeah, this is Star Wars, and this is a really, really good end to an episode. But then it goes on to a little cliffhanger type of thing, and then we hear rustling of some spurs or boots, looking down at the body of Fennec Shand, and then we obviously don't see the face or anything like that. And then the next thing is, who is this? And all of us want it to be Boba Fett. We really do. I know he doesn't have his armor anymore. That was taken from another character, and I mean, it looked like he was all dressed in black by the looks of it, with a cloak, and then he had a pistol as well. For me, it kind of made more sense if it was Cad Bane, because he was actually called off in the Clone Wars, but it was a deleted scene that never happened. So it's all possibilities, and it's no longer canon that Cad Bane's actually dead. And it would just make a lot of sense, and it would just be another great character to have in there. And we might be able to finally see his demise, and to see what actually happened to him. I'm really hoping that is the case. I'm hoping it's not Moff Gideon, who's basically going to be the main villain in chapter 7 or chapter 8, or possibly both. I hope it's not that, because that just seems so obvious. So if we can have this as Cad Bane, and if we do have it as Boba Fett, which I highly doubt, I think everyone's going to go absolutely nuts for it and go out of their mind. But he's too much of a big character to go against the Mandalorian. It would just take too much focus off him, and I really doubt that it's going to be Boba Fett. But that is my thoughts on chapter 5. Again, I thought it was an okay episode. It started out really, really well, and then for me, it just was like a meh, episode. I wasn't that bothered. I didn't feel really desperate to watch it again. The episode 1 to 4, or chapters 1, 2, and 4, I've watched about 3 or 4 times. I enjoyed it that much. Chapter 3 I watched twice. I thought, yeah, that's cool. That's fair enough. But for me, this chapter was good. I wouldn't say it was excellent or amazing. I feel like it can't match the other episodes now. Maybe that's just stuck in my mind, that they're so good that none of them are going to be any better. But that's my thoughts on that. Please comment down below and tell me your thoughts of chapter 5, if you feel the same that I do, or if you have completely different views. I really want to know your comments about it. So thank you very much for watching, guys, and I will see you on the next video. Take care.